Johnson was a man who lived in a small village. He was always hungry, always complaining, and never thankful. People in the village gave him food many times, but he still wanted more. He would say, "This is not enough. Why should I suffer like this?" His wife Bella tried her best to make him happy, but he never smiled. He always said, "If only I had more food, I would be the happiest man alive." But deep inside, Johnson was not just hungry, he was greedy. Every day, Johnson would go to his neighbor Kenny's house to ask for food. Kenny was a kind man who shared what he had. "Take this yam," he would say. "Feed your family." Johnson never said thank you. He would just walk away and return the next day, asking for more. People started getting tired of him, but Johnson didn't care. All he wanted was more food, more meat, and more of everything. One day, as Johnson was walking in the bush, he saw an old woman sitting on a stone. Her clothes were old, her back was bent, and her hands were shaking, but her eyes were bright like stars. She looked at Johnson and smiled. "You look hungry," she said. "I can help you, but you must listen carefully." Johnson's eyes grew wide. "Yes, Mama, help me please," he shouted. The old woman, whose name was Mama Sarah, brought out a small wooden pot from a black bag. It didn't look special. It looked like any normal pot. "This pot will give you food when you speak to it kindly," she said. "But don't be greedy, just take what you need." Johnson laughed. "I will never be hungry again," he said. Mama Sarah frowned. "Remember what I said, Johnson. Don't be greedy." But Johnson was no longer listening. His heart was full of dreams of meat, soup, and plenty rice. When Johnson got home, he placed the pot on the floor and looked at Bella. "Watch this," he said. He leaned close and said, "Pot, I want hot pounded yam and a goosey soup." At first, nothing happened. Then, steam rose from the pot. Bella screamed. The pot began to shake and smoke came out. And just like that, the pot gave them a hot meal. Pounded yam, thick goosey soup, and big pieces of meat. Bella was shocked. "Where did you get this from?" she asked. "A gift," Johnson said proudly. That night, they ate and danced. Johnson forgot to say thank you pot. He didn't even clean it. He just left it on the floor and said, "I will ask for more tomorrow." Bella smiled, but inside her heart, something didn't feel right. At first, Johnson used the pot only 2 times a day, once in the morning and once at night. But soon, he started asking the pot for more. "Pot, I want goat meat. Pot, give me pepper soup. Pot, give me chicken with fried rice." The pot never said no. It kept giving him what he asked. Bella started getting scared. "Johnson, we don't need this much food," she said. "Let's share with others." But Johnson got angry. "Why should I share? Did they give me this pot? It's mine. I suffered enough." Bella shook her head. She remembered what the old woman said, "Don't be greedy." But Johnson didn't care. He locked the door and told everyone to leave them alone. "Let them go and find their own magic pot," he said. One day, Kenny came to the house. He said his child was sick and needed food. "Please, Johnson," Kenny begged. "Just a little rice for my son." Johnson laughed. "Go and beg someone else," he said. "This is not a charity home." Kenny looked shocked. "But I gave you food when you were hungry," he said. Johnson slammed the door and shouted, "That was then." Bella watched everything with tears in her eyes. "Johnson, this is not right," she whispered. "That pot was meant to help us, not turn us into monsters." But Johnson didn't listen. He sat with a big bowl of soup and ate until he couldn't move. He smiled and said, "This is the life I always wanted." That night, Johnson spoke to the pot again. "I want pepper soup, meat pie, fried plantain, jollof rice, and goat meat, he said. But this time, the pot didn't shake. It didn't boil. It just sat there quietly. Johnson kicked it. "Did you hear me? I said I want food." The pot began to shake slowly. Then, without warning, it boiled on its own. Steam poured out like smoke. Food started spilling from the pot, first yam, then rice, then soup. Johnson laughed and said, "Yes, that's more like it." But the pot didn't stop. It kept boiling, kept cooking, kept pouring out food. Bella screamed, "Johnson, what did you do?" The food began to fill the room. It poured into the kitchen, the sitting room, and even into the bedroom. Johnson tried to stop it. He kicked the pot, poured water on it, but it didn't stop. "Why won't you listen to me?" he shouted. Bella grabbed their small baby and ran outside. The neighbors gathered and watched food flowing out of the house. People were shocked. "What kind of pot is this?" they asked. Kenny came running and said, "Bella, where is Johnson?" Bella cried and said, "He's inside. He's trying to stop the pot." The food covered the windows. It reached the roof. And still, the pot kept boiling. The next morning, the pot was quiet. The house was full of cold food, yam, rice, soup, meat all over the place. But Johnson was nowhere to be found. People searched everywhere. They called his name, "Johnson, Johnson." But there was no answer. Bella sat on the ground and cried. "He didn't listen. He didn't listen," she repeated. Kenny put his hand on her shoulder. "The pot warned him," he said. "Greed is a dangerous thing." The villagers cleaned up the food. Some took small bowls to feed their children. Others helped Bella and her baby. But Johnson never came out again. Some say the pot swallowed him. Others say he ran away. But nobody saw him again. After the incident, the whole village could not stop talking. Some people were scared. "If a small pot can do that, what else can it do?" others asked. Children stayed away from Bella's house. People started saying, maybe Johnson did something evil to get that pot. Kenny tried to calm everyone down. He said, "It was just a warning. Greed has a price." Bella stayed in the house, quiet and sad. She missed Johnson, even though he had changed. She remembered when they were young and poor, but happy. Why did he love food more than people? She asked herself. Every time she looked at the pot, she felt cold inside. She cleaned it, but never used it again. One night, Bella had a strange dream. In the dream, she saw Johnson standing in a big place full of food. He was crying. "Help me, Bella," he said. "I didn't listen. I should have shared." Bella woke up in tears. She told Kenny, "I saw him. He's not at peace." Kenny said, "Then you must do something." Bella knew what she had to do. She took the pot and carried it to the middle of the village. She called the elders and the villagers. "This pot is not a gift," she said. "It's a lesson. My husband is gone because of greed. Please don't let this happen again." Bella and Kenny decided to use the pot to help people. But this time, they used it with care. They only asked it for food when someone was truly hungry. They shared food with children, old people, and sick ones. The pot never boiled out of control again. It stayed calm and gave just enough. People started respecting Bella. They saw her as wise and strong. Even after all she went through, she still cares, they said. Kenny helped her every day. They became a team, not for money, not for power, but for kindness. And slowly, the village became happier. One day, a stranger came to the village. He was rich, dressed in fine clothes, and smelled of perfume. He heard about the magic pot. "I want it," he said. "Name your price," Bella said. "It's not for sale." But the man laughed. "Everything has a price," he said. That night, he tried to steal the pot. but the pot didn't like him. As soon as he touched it, fire came out. He ran away screaming. The villagers chased him out. Bella said, "The pot is not magic for fun. It knows your heart." From that day, no one dared misuse it again. Bella used the pot to start something new. She opened a small food place, not for money, but to feed the hungry. Every day, people came, children with empty stomachs, old women with weak bones, travelers with dusty feet. All left with full bellies and smiles. The pot gave and gave, but never boiled out of control. People from other villages came to see the wonder. They asked, "What is the secret?" Sharing and knowing when enough is enough. Her words touched many hearts. Kenny had been by Bella's side since Johnson disappeared. One evening, he came with a small wooden box. "This is for you," he said. Inside was a simple ring. "You don't have to say yes now, but if one day you want to start again, I'll be here." Bella smiled, tears in her eyes. She said, "You've been kind, Kenny, more than I ever expected. Let's take things slow." Kenny nodded. "I'll wait," he said. The villagers were happy. They whispered, "Maybe something good can grow from this sadness." One day, a small boy asked Bella, "Where is Uncle Johnson?" Bella bent down and said, "He made some wrong choices. He forgot to share. The pot gave him food, but he wanted too much. Now he is gone." The boy said, "I will never be greedy." Bella smiled. That's the lesson. Children started coming to her, not just for food, but for stories. She told them about Johnson, about the pot, and about being thankful. The pot was now more than a cooking pot, it was a teacher. Many months passed. Then one day, the old woman, Mama Sarah, returned. She walked into the village quietly. When she saw Bella, she smiled. "You used the pot well," she said. "You turned pain into love." Bella bowed and said, "I learned the hard way." Mama Sarah looked at the pot and touched it gently. "It's ready now," she said. "It can rest." The pot shook a little and then went silent. From that day, it never cooked again. But the lessons it gave stayed in every heart. That night, Bella had another dream. She saw Johnson again, but this time he was smiling. "Thank you," he said. "You helped me rest. You helped others. I am free now." Bella woke up with peace in her heart. She cried, not with sadness, but with love. She lit a small candle by the old pot and said, "Rest well, Johnson. Your story will never be forgotten." She felt light, as if a heavy bag had left her shoulders. Kenny held her hand and said, "Now we can move forward." Years passed. Bella and Kenny became leaders in the village. They taught children to be kind, to share, and to never be greedy. The pot stayed in a special place in the village square. People came to look at it and remember the story of Johnson. The pot never cooked again, but it fed people with something bigger: wisdom. The lesson was clear. Greed can destroy, but love and sharing can build a new life. And that's how the greedy man's story became a light for others.